Maybe I won't come this way again. Fishing boats rock in the slick water. Miss Amy, Polaris, new venture. The goddess, the star, and the journey are in these names, and the boats, like Zen temples, point to the door at the bottom of the garden, which opens slowly. The lions glisten with new snow. A small cloud touches Mount Seymour. The harbor sleeps in golden light. Where will the boats go when the dock is closed? Maybe I won't come this way again. The ice plant is already closed, and it won't reopen ever. Try BC Ice and Cold Storage, a sign says brightly. Under the sign, there's a newspaper cartoon on a grimmer note, a prophecy, a cry for help, a picture of some people in a cage at the zoo. We know it's a zoo, the drawing makes that clear, and in the next cage is a giraffe. We can see his long neck and small head. Visitors are watching the people in the cage, and a sign on the cage door reads, "Riff Raff." One of the ice plant workers has drawn an arrow to the caged people and written in pencil beneath the cartoon, "After the ice plant closes." Oh, my brother, my sister, maybe I won't come this way again.
That's right at Alexander and Gore, right?
Yeah.
That's what was behind the fisheries at Alexander and Gore, the ice plant?
No. That's down where the BC Sugar Refinery is. That's
there.
where it was. That's where the original Marine View coffee shop was.
It was. You mean where the gas station is now?
I don't know what's down there now.
There's a gas station.
You have to go to the BC Sugar Refinery, and then you kind of walk right beside it, right to the waterfront.
Oh.
It's right on the waterfront.
Okay.
It was anyway.
Where was the cold storage place?
It was right there on the dock. It was written. The Marine View coffee shop was up on the second floor, and the cold storage was there. And then on the dock there were a number of fish places where they cut fish and sorted them out and everything else. It was a very active place. And the seagulls would be swirling there, and people liked to go there, and they certainly got fresh fish. And then the whole thing was closed down, and the Marine View coffee shop moved up to Alexander Street across from the Deer Co-op.
Right.
And that's where it was.
Yeah, that's where it was. Okay, I want to see what else we have here.
Let's see if I got anything in here.
That's a good photo. That looks like you're a little younger.
Yeah, a little younger then, yeah.
Just a couple of years.
That's probably about 15. This is,
Oh, here it is. Maybe I won't come this way again. Same one. Put a contract on his life.
some guys on the downtown east side.
$500.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand it. That's what I got. That's what I must have got from Erickson.
They didn't like what he was doing?
It's not, no, they didn't like what he was doing. He was clean, he was I shouldn't use, that's a bad term to use, and he was stopping the beer parlors from over-serving the customers, and he was going after the hotels that weren't obeying the city regulations. So he's making quite a few enemies, and he'd had the beer parlors had closed, and he was the charismatic crusader back in, this would be the early 70s.
Right.
And Gene served beer at the Patricia Hotel. And the boss would say, you know, load the table, overserve. Well, I've spent a number of years in beer parlors, and when somebody comes with a full tray of beer, you know, you're sure, put them down, you know, we'll take them. And but when the owner knew that Erickson was coming, he'd say, watch out for Erickson. In fact, that's how Gene met Libby Davies, and because she thought maybe this is a trick. That young woman looks too young, you know. Maybe Eric's is going to see. So she asked Libby for her ID, which he had.
Okay, let's read this one. Yeah.
All right.
How did he end up dying? How did he end up dying?
He got cancer of the liver, and they think it was, his life was horrendous, you know. He was in an orphanage when he was about 5 and learned to fight. And then I think he may have ran away from it when he was 12 or so. He came out here when he was about 14 from Ontario. And when he was very young, he got on a deep sea and was in China on a big freighter. And in China, he had a tattoo done. And this is what he think happened. And the tattoo was done, and it was a very, very coarse technology being used at that time. And he thinks he may have got hepatitis from that. And it finally showed up, and he died of cancer, and he thinks that's what it was from.
How old was he when he died? About 60?
60, late 60s. Late 60s, yeah. Late 60s. He had retired as city councilor, and it was in his late, he may have been 69 when he died.
How long was he on the council for?
Oh, gee, from the early 80s, so he was on for quite a while. I can't remember exactly how long. But it would have been from the early 80s. He went from DERA and then ran for council and got elected.
Did Libby ever run for council? Or just
Yes, she did. She was on council for a few, yes. She did too. And Jean may have, but she didn't get elected. And so I think that's about it.
Okay, let's read that one, yeah.
In this little book, these really are history in short lines.
Yeah.
Abridged
history.
Let's see. Being true to ourselves, for Bruce Erickson, 1928 to 1997. This poem was written in 2003. Bruce Erickson helped to start the Downtown Eastside Residents Association in the early 1970s. He pushed the city of Vancouver to enforce its bylaws on safety and health in hotels, and he tried to stop the beer parlors from over-serving beer to their customers. Erickson, the charismatic crusader. He made enemies in his attempts to clean up the downtown east side, By the end of 1973, 4 beer parlors had been closed. 2 others were on probation. A dance hall license had been canceled, and the hours of 2 cafes had been restricted. It was about that time that the Vancouver police told Erickson that someone had put out a $500 contract on his life. They advised him to leave town, and he went to Victoria for a few days. Then he returned to Vancouver and announced to the media that he would continue his work in spite of the threat. He said that if he were killed, he hoped that his death would help the people in the downtown East Side build a better community. Erickson was not playing the role of martyr. He simply knew himself well enough to know what he was prepared to die for. It was Gandhi who said that we can only be true to ourselves and true to others when we are able to commit ourselves on selected occasions to the death.
Very nice.
I don't know.
Where's Muskrat Lake?
Oh, that's way up in northern Ontario. That's a different. Oh, I know one. This one. This one's kind of fun.
You know a lot about Muskrat Lake. Did you used to live up there or what?
I taught school up there for a year. It's about 200 miles north of Red Lake. It's way in the 55 below zero in the winter. A little Ojibwe trapping community.
Wow.
There were just 3 white people up there, the trapper, his wife, and myself, the teacher. It was a beautiful year. It was a beautiful year. I know one here that we should do that I know. You know Donald McPherson?
Yeah, he was here the other day.
Well,
I was back
again, this is true, yeah. And this is a true story. It's also got some of my Scottish background in it too as well.
Okay, let's do that one.
Yeah, Donald would like that. People, you know, the great dispossession, the Bagpiper, written in 1998. On May 30th, 1998, the downtown East Side celebrated the colorful murals that had been painted by different groups in the community. About 80 of us marched from Oppenheimer to Pigeon Park. A rainbow parade with a jazz band leading and Donald McPherson bringing up the rear with bagpipe wailing and kilt swinging. Scotland forever, the music cried, half ecstasy, half lament, the music of the dispossessed, of those scattered throughout the world because they could not live in their own country. On Hastings Street, a young woman approached Donald, her body thin like paper and face pale as the morning moon. She had a cold sore at the corner of her mouth, and she walked unsteadily, as many of us do on this uneven earth. Her hair was red like the sky at night, sailor's delight. And she followed Donald, swaying to the music for an entire block. "I'm Scotch," she said, and oh, the luminous, shining pride in her eyes. And then, "Thank you." And she was gone. Dear Scottish lass, what did you hear in the music that Donald played? What message in those plaintive songs for you? For the people of the downtown East Side? For all the world's people? How are we just about done here?
Yeah. I was just looking at this one.
What a bear for punishment you are.
I'm a sucker for history, you know?
Well, that's what when I think of Des Media as archives.
Yeah.
In archives on tape.
Yeah, exactly. We have a whole collection now of conversations with people.
Well, I thought you did a wonderful job on that video of the people that you interviewed over a period of what, 2-3 years?
You mean the one we did for the Carnegie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. Yep. Well, there's John Marie's photo. How about Jean Marie's poem?
Oh yes, I could do that.